A fragile leather-bound diary lay forgotten in the shadowed recesses of Clarence's house, untouched for decades until the day it resurfaced. Its pages, yellowed and trembling, held a voice the world was never meant to hear. Camilla's words spilled across ink-stained lines, raw and unfiltered, speaking of envy and admiration intertwined with fear. Diana's brilliance, charm, and uncanny ability to captivate hearts ignited both awe and resentment. Yet beneath the surface, Camilla revealed a vulnerability, the suffocating pressure of being measured against a woman adored by the entire nation. Each page dripped with secrecy, a mosaic of longing, rivalry, and the unspoken truths of a royal triangle that haunted the palace corridors for decades. The world would soon glimpse a perspective that history had never allowed, and the echoes of those confessions were poised to shake the foundations of the crown itself. The diary revealed more than envy. It chronicled moments of tension, subtle rivalries, and unspoken alliances that shaped palace life. Camilla wrote of fleeting glances exchanged across grand halls, whispered conversations that carried weight far beyond their words. Every royal gathering became a chessboard, with Diana's effortless charisma and Camilla's calculated restraint as opposing forces. Behind the glittering gowns and polished smiles, emotions simmered. Admiration tangled with jealousy, loyalty challenged by desire. It was a delicate dance of appearances where one misstep could ignite scandal, and the diary's pages captured each tremor in a voice the world had never heard, exposing the raw humanity behind the crowns and crown's shadows. Camilla's words turned darker, describing envy not as fleeting, but as a constant companion. She detailed moments of isolation amidst grandeur, palace rooms that echoed with laughter she could not join, receptions where Diana's effortless charm overshadowed her. Each entry weighed heavy, revealing an internal struggle between restraint and desire for acceptance. The diary became a confessional of sorts, a secret sanctuary where Camilla could explore her own contradictions. Love and resentment intertwined, admiration shaded with silent rivalry. In these quiet admissions, the monarchy's human frailty emerged, exposing that beneath the gilded halls and royal protocol, hearts were just as vulnerable, torn, and conflicted as any outside the palace walls. Some pages hinted at secrets never revealed, moments Camilla witnessed but never spoke of aloud, an exchanged glance, a whispered remark, a fleeting jealousy that could have altered the monarchy's trajectory. She wrote of Diana's warmth toward the public, a radiance that both inspired and intimidated, and how she navigated her own place in a world built on scrutiny and expectation. Every paragraph revealed a delicate balance, respect intertwined with rivalry, loyalty mingling with personal ambition. The diary painted a portrait of a woman in the shadows of history, recording truths that challenged the accepted narratives and offered a glimpse into the private struggles that even a queen could not escape. As the diary progressed, the tone shifted from envy to revelation. Camilla confessed her admiration for Diana's strength, her magnetic presence, and the public's unrelenting gaze. There was remorse, too, a recognition of her own missteps and moments of bitterness. The diary became a mirror of her conscience, reflecting insecurities, desires, and the harsh reality of living in the shadow of one of the most beloved figures in modern history. Every word echoed the tension of a royal life under scrutiny, where private thoughts could never safely remain private, and where the crown's weight pressed heavily on every emotion, every choice, every secret she dared to record. Camilla's diary entries shifted toward clandestine observations, chronicling the subtle games of power that unfolded behind palace walls. She described whispered alliances among courtiers, fleeting expressions that spoke louder than words, and the unspoken competition for attention and influence. Diana's effortless ability to charm the media and public alike was both mesmerizing and tormenting, casting a shadow over Camilla's carefully measured presence. Every royal engagement became a battleground of perception, where appearances masked fragile truths, and every smile or frown was dissected with precision. The diary read like a map of tension, capturing the delicate balance of influence and envy that defined the palace's inner corridors. One entry revealed a secret encounter between Camilla and Diana, where civility masked unspoken tensions. The diary described the careful choreography of words and gestures, smiles hiding deeper feelings, and moments of vulnerability that only the walls of the palace could witness. Camilla reflected on the complexity of their relationship, admiration tinged with rivalry, affection shadowed by suspicion. She revealed how each public appearance carried hidden calculations, and how Diana's brilliance in connecting with the world created a pressure she could never fully escape. Through the pages, the reader glimpsed the human side of royalty. Fragile, strategic, and endlessly entangled in emotions they dared not speak aloud. The diary captured moments of private reflection where Camilla's insecurities surfaced. She confessed to feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, and fear of being forever measured against Diana's brilliance. Yet she also revealed compassion, admitting that Diana's struggles mirrored her own in ways outsiders could never understand. These pages were raw, exposing the contradictions of human nature in the gilded world of royalty. Ambition entwined with remorse, envy tempered by admiration. Camilla's introspection painted a portrait of a woman navigating complex emotions, torn between public expectation and private desire, leaving the reader unsettled yet empathetic to the hidden vulnerabilities of monarchy. Camilla's entries grew more confessional, revealing her awareness of how history would remember them both. She documented private fears about public perception, the relentless scrutiny, and the pressures of living as a figure scrutinized by millions. Each word reflected anxiety and strategic foresight. The diary became both a journal and a weapon, capturing truths that could never safely be spoken aloud. Camilla's observations portrayed Diana as a force of nature, undaunted, brilliant, yet vulnerable in her own way. Every paragraph hinted at the precarious balance of power, affection, and rivalry that shaped their shared narrative, offering a perspective that challenged public assumptions and revealed the fragile humanity beneath royal protocol. The diary concluded this chapter with reflections on choices and consequences, revealing Camilla's private grappling with remorse, ambition, and loyalty. She pondered the fragile threads connecting public image to personal truth, acknowledging moments of envy while admitting deep admiration for Diana's resilience and grace. The words struck a delicate balance between confession and revelation, leaving an indelible sense of tension and humanity. In the pages, the audience glimpsed the unseen emotional landscape of a royal life, where personal desires collided with public duty, and every secret carried the weight of history itself. The diary was more than paper and ink. It was a mirror, reflecting a world of power, love, envy, and unspoken truths. Camilla's diary turned confessional, exposing moments when admiration and resentment collided. She described the suffocating weight of living in Diana's shadow, where public adoration amplified private insecurities. Each event, each smile, each whispered compliment carried layers of unspoken meaning. Camilla wrote of observing Diana's effortless connection with the world, her charisma both awe-inspiring and terrifying. The diary detailed the tension of wanting closeness, yet fearing exposure, the precarious balance between friendship and rivalry, and the haunting knowledge that history would judge her by comparison. In every line, the reader felt the pulse of a palace filled with elegance, shadowed by envy, and alive with unspoken truths. One diary entry revealed a private confrontation, a tense exchange where civility barely concealed underlying jealousy. Camilla recorded every detail, the subtle shifts in tone, the fleeting glare, the moments of vulnerability Diana never intended to show. It was a test of patience, perception, and restraint. Camilla's reflections uncovered the psychological complexity of their rivalry, admiration shadowed by fear, affection intertwined with envy, and the delicate dance of power that governed every royal interaction. Each word exposed how deeply human emotions were magnified under the relentless gaze of history and public scrutiny. The diary detailed moments of unexpected tenderness. Camilla confessed admiration for Diana's resilience and grace, describing how even fleeting kindness could soften envy and spark deep reflection. These passages revealed the duality of human emotion. Rivalry could coexist with respect. Jealousy could mingle with love. Camilla's introspection offered a rare glimpse into the vulnerability behind the public mask. The diary became a testament to the complex reality of royal life, where personal feelings often clashed with ceremonial duty, and every action carried layers of consequence, both private and public. Camilla's pen revealed the darker consequences of envy. She wrote of late-night doubts, whispered gossip circulating among courtiers, and the pressure to maintain appearances while privately grappling with fear and inadequacy. Diana's brilliance and public magnetism were both a source of fascination and torment. The diary recounted moments when Camilla questioned her own motivations, wondering whether her feelings of rivalry were justified or merely reflections of her insecurities. These candid reflections underscored the fragility of human emotion under scrutiny, revealing that even queens were not immune to the turbulence of envy, regret, and longing. The act concluded with a revelation of perspective. Camilla admitted the complexity of living alongside Diana's magnetic presence. The diary became a mirror of conflicted emotions: admiration, jealousy, fear, and love intertwined in every confession. It reflected the fragility of public image, the intensity of private emotion, and the ever-present tension between perception and reality. Through these pages, Camilla's humanity emerged, revealing a woman striving for grace and acceptance while navigating the relentless scrutiny of history, the monarchy, and the world beyond the palace walls. The diary's pages grew sharper, chronicling moments that bordered on scandal. Camilla recounted how whispers in the palace could twist perception, transforming a simple glance into an accusation, a passing comment into a rumor that spread like wildfire. She reflected on the weight of public scrutiny, where every misstep was magnified and every private thought risked exposure. Diana's allure and unwavering poise made her a target of admiration and envy alike. Camilla's words captured the tension of living under such relentless observation, revealing how secrecy and strategy became survival tools in a world where perception was power, and even a queen could feel vulnerable. A particularly explosive entry described an incident where Camilla and Diana crossed paths in a private chamber, their civility masking underlying rivalry. Camilla detailed subtle gestures, a tightened jaw, a fleeting glance that revealed unspoken tensions. The diary captured the duality of their interactions, polite on the surface, emotionally charged beneath. Camilla admitted feelings of frustration, tinged with guilt, for the thoughts she could not control. These passages illuminated the fragile balance of power, the constant negotiation of image and emotion, and the ever-present danger that private moments might become public fodder, threatening both reputations and relationships. The diary turned confessional, revealing how Camilla grappled with guilt and admiration simultaneously. She wrote of Diana's humanity, the quiet moments of kindness, the genuine concern for those around her, and how these contrasted with Camilla's own internal struggles. The entries painted a portrait of a woman torn between longing for closeness and fearing exposure. Camilla reflected on the impossibility of fully understanding another's life when filtered through the lens of fame and royalty, revealing the subtle cruelty of perception and the emotional toll of being constantly measured against someone whose very presence captivated the world. One of the most revealing entries described Camilla's confrontation with her own ambition. She reflected on the desire for acceptance, the fear of inadequacy, and the constant pressure to maintain a poised exterior. Diana's brilliance, in contrast, was effortless, magnifying Camilla's self-doubt. Yet the diary also revealed admiration, a recognition that Diana's strength and humanity were worthy of respect. These passages exposed the duality of royal life. Every action and feeling filtered through a lens of judgment, every personal triumph tempered by envy, every moment of connection shadowed by the weight of history. The act concluded with a sense of looming revelation. Camilla's diary hinted at truths that could alter public perception, exposing the delicate interplay of emotion, rivalry, and loyalty within the palace. She acknowledged that every word she wrote carried the weight of consequence, that her private reflections could challenge history itself. The diary became both a record of confession and a chronicle of human complexity, revealing that behind crowns and ceremonial decorum were emotions just as raw, conflicted, and powerful as any outside the palace walls. The tension between public image and private truth reached its peak, leaving a palpable sense of suspense and anticipation for what might follow. Camilla's diary began to tremble with the weight of consequences. She wrote of sleepless nights, haunted by the thought that her private reflections could someday surface. Every word, every confession, was a fragile thread in a tapestry of royal secrecy. Diana's magnetism, her effortless connection with the world, amplified Camilla's insecurities, but also her admiration. The diary became a mirror, reflecting a delicate dance between jealousy and respect, fear and fascination. Camilla's narrative revealed that even within the gilded halls, emotions ran raw and unfiltered, and that the monarchy's human fragility could not be hidden, no matter how carefully composed the public image. A private entry detailed a tense royal engagement. Camilla described subtle gestures, Diana's smile, a fleeting glance, the laughter that drew every eye, that made her both envious and awe-struck. Every interaction was a test of composure, a delicate choreography of restraint and observation. Camilla admitted her fear of judgment, of being misunderstood, and of the invisible eyes that watched every move. The diary captured the duality of their relationship: admiration laced with rivalry, respect shadowed by insecurity. In these pages, the private lives of two royal women unfolded with the tension of a high-stakes drama, poised to ignite scandal if exposed. The diary grew intimate, revealing Camilla's conflicted thoughts on love, loyalty, and legacy. She acknowledged admiration for Diana's resilience, while confessing moments of bitterness that gnawed at her conscience. Camilla's words captured the intensity of living under constant scrutiny, where emotions were amplified and every choice examined. These entries illustrated the paradox of royal life, the simultaneous pursuit of public duty and private understanding, the need to appear flawless while navigating deeply human insecurities. Every confession carried weight, a testament to the pressures that shaped their interactions and the invisible threads connecting personal feeling to historical consequence. A particularly striking entry recounted a near confrontation during a private dinner. Camilla reflected on the intricate etiquette that masked raw emotion, how every word and gesture carried layers of meaning, and how a single misstep could spark rumor and scrutiny. She admitted to silently testing boundaries, balancing propriety with her inner feelings and navigating the delicate space between friendship and rivalry. The diary revealed that royal life, beneath its glittering facade, was a continuous negotiation of self-restraint, perception, and emotional survival. Every recorded moment pulsed with tension, hinting at the fragile threads holding their world together. The act closed with Camilla reflecting on the possibility of exposure. She questioned how history would interpret her words, how the public would judge her private feelings, and whether the diary itself could ever be understood beyond scandal. Her admiration for Diana mingled with guilt, envy, and respect, a complex tapestry of emotion that only secrecy could preserve. The diary, she realized, was more than a collection of thoughts. It was a chronicle of survival, human frailty, and the tension between image and truth. The pages were poised at the precipice of revelation, ready to challenge perceptions and test the boundaries between public perception and private reality. Camilla's diary hinted at the looming threat of discovery. Every word she had written carried the potential to ignite scandal, and the weight of this knowledge pressed heavily on her. She reflected on how a private confession once exposed could distort her intentions, cast shadows on Diana's reputation, and alter the public's perception forever. The diary became a secret map of her emotions: envy and admiration, fear and longing, jealousy and respect, woven into a tapestry of royal vulnerability. Each entry trembled with anticipation, as though the walls themselves were listening, and the palace's polished halls seemed suddenly fraught with silent judgment. An entry recounted Camilla overhearing a conversation between courtiers, a subtle hint that someone might discover her private writings. Panic mingled with resolve. She understood the power of words when exposed to scrutiny. Camilla detailed the delicate choreography of concealment, the constant vigilance required to protect both her own reputation and Diana's. The diary revealed the emotional toll of living under the scrutiny of both history and gossip, where one misplaced glance or misunderstood gesture could ripple outward, shaping narratives that could last for decades. Every page reflected the tension between secrecy and truth, personal feeling and public image. The diary captured Camilla's inner debate over whether to burn it, hide it, or risk exposure. Each word she had written was a testament to human frailty and the complex interplay of envy and admiration. She reflected on Diana's brilliance, her public charm, and the vulnerability that lay beneath the crown. Camilla's writing became almost a plea for understanding, a recognition that the world rarely saw the full truth of emotion behind the polished exterior. Through her words, the diary transformed into a fragile bridge between secrecy and revelation, a delicate chronicle of feelings that could redefine the story the world had long believed. One passage revealed Camilla's awareness of the historical weight her words carried. She acknowledged that the diary was not merely a personal outlet, but a record that could shift the understanding of events, perceptions, and legacies. The entries reflected the duality of royal life: moments of genuine connection and admiration intertwined with envy and strategic calculation. Camilla's voice, intimate yet measured, traced the contours of her emotions with honesty rarely permitted in public life. The diary became a testament to the human cost of monarchy, exposing the fragile balance between personal truth and public expectation, and the silent battles waged behind gilded doors. The act concluded with mounting tension. The diary's secrets teetered on the edge of revelation. Camilla's reflections conveyed fear, regret, admiration, and resignation in equal measure. Every private thought, meticulously penned, seemed poised to escape into the world, carrying potential scandal and personal consequence. The pages reflected the raw vulnerability of a life under relentless observation, and the reader could feel the anticipation as though the palace itself held its breath. History, perception, and emotion collided, and the diary became the silent witness to a story of rivalry, respect, and humanity behind the crowns. The stage was set for truths to emerge, and the world would never look at the monarchy the same way again. The diary was found, its pages once hidden in a shadowed corner of Clarence House, now poised to shake the monarchy. Camilla's confessions, raw and intimate, were no longer private. They would be dissected by the world. The entries revealed envy and admiration, guilt and longing, respect and rivalry, all coexisting in a fragile emotional web. Diana's brilliance shone from every passage, yet Camilla's vulnerability made the revelations profoundly human. The palace, elegant yet vulnerable, became a stage for emotion, secrecy, and history colliding. In that moment, the diary transformed from private reflection to a historical lens, offering the world a glimpse of what had always remained behind the gilded doors. Camilla's private confessions ignited speculation. Courtiers whispered, the media circled, and history hung in the balance. The diaries' revelations illustrated the delicate tension between public perception and private truth, showing how rivalry and admiration had coexisted in complex harmony. Camilla's words revealed moments of remorse and unexpected tenderness, shedding light on the hidden human side of a royal life, always measured against Diana's magnetic presence. Every line seemed to pulse with emotion, scandal, and consequence, drawing the palace into a whirlwind of anticipation and anxiety. The diaries' contents reached the public eye, and the palace world shifted in subtle yet seismic ways. Camilla's admittance of envy, admiration, and regret humanized her while reshaping the narrative around Diana. The entries exposed the complex emotional landscape of royalty, private vulnerabilities, rivalries, and quiet acts of respect intertwined with ambition. Camilla's voice, once confined to paper, now echoed through the corridors of history, revealing that behind the crown's composure lay a world of passion, fear, and moral negotiation. The revelation was not merely scandalous. It was a mirror to the emotional truths that history often obscures. Amid public speculation, Camilla reflected on the duality of perception. How private envy could coexist with respect, how rivalry could inspire introspection, and how admiration could coexist with fear. The diary became both confession and testament, offering a rare glimpse into the psychological depth of royal life. It revealed that even under relentless scrutiny, human emotion persisted in all its contradictions: love, jealousy, loyalty, and insecurity, all shaping decisions and interactions. The palace, elegant and imposing, now seemed vulnerable, a stage where private truths were finally meeting public scrutiny. The final pages captured resolution and reflection. Camilla acknowledged her envy, confessed her admiration, and embraced the complex humanity behind her feelings. Diana's legacy, as seen through these intimate words, shone with resilience and grace. The diary, once secret, now stood as a bridge between public narrative and private truth, a testament to the emotional lives hidden beneath the crown. History, perception, and emotion converged, leaving the audience with an indelible impression of the human vulnerability behind the monarchy and the delicate, complicated bonds between Camilla and Diana that had shaped an era of intrigue, rivalry, and unexpected empathy.